This is unit and lesson planning for Out of My Mind. This is the unit plan that I created. Listed I have the Common Core state standards, how I plan on assessing the students, some essential questions I want the students to be able to learn, what text we're going to be basing it off of, any writing activities, how I'm going to progress monitor them throughout the lessons, the concepts and skills I plan on teaching the students, any grammar infusion that will be learned throughout the lessons, and any ways to differentiate it. This is my first lesson plan. It's called How Would You Communicate? I have it so students be able to learn multiple ways of communication through nonverbal ways. I listed the standards that will be taught during this, and I go through and describe what I'm going to do throughout the lesson that day. In the end, I'm going to have the students have a conversation with a partner in the same way that Melody would, and that is with the use of words and sliding them and making them into sentences. Another one is In Her Shoes. This one, the students will be able to be empathetic towards students with differences. I have the standards listed. And then this one, I talked about how I'm going to get the students into the lesson. And then the ending is going to have the students write a paper about how they would feel or act if they were frustrated with something that happened, and if they weren't able to use any words. The last one is Who Are You? This is for students to learn how to express and talk about themselves through writing. I'm going to have the students bring some pictures, and then they're going to write a brief biography about themselves, any details about their life that they think students should know or relate to them better with, and then they're going to share it with the class. Some appropriate handouts and activities for How Would You Communicate? Large font on the paper. I'm going to put the desks together so students can work next to each other. And then I would pair students together strategically. So I want to put some students who are farther ahead with the students who are a little bit behind. For In Her Shoes, I would print out or copy chapter 10 from the book, and then I would print it out in larger font and even possibly double space it. The paper will have lines so the kids can write easier. And then a computer with read aloud. For Who You Are, or Who Are You, a computer and iPad with read aloud. And then I would write a quick autobiography about myself, put it in a decent sized font and double spaces so students can read it. For differentiated instruction, I would have for How Would You Communicate, students would, they could use a computer that they type the word and then it reads it back. And then it would go back to the same thing as a lesson, and they would just use the sheets of paper. In Her Shoes, the students would write one page about how they would feel. The next level up would be a 1 to 2 page paper, and then the third, if they feel like it, would be sharing how they feel. Who Are You? They are able to bring in just pictures if they don't feel like writing. Then the next level is up, they write a paper and bring in pictures. And then the final one is if they want, they can record themselves talking about it and share that with the class instead of presenting their paper in front of the class. UDL, for How Would You Communicate? I would incorporate technology, hands-on learning, do a video example, and then directions via videos so students can go back and replay those if they forget what to do. For In Her Shoes, I would do a video example, more technology, and then have a recorded reading of the chapter on YouTube so students can go back and listen to the chapter again if they get stuck. Who Are You? I would use technology in a video example. For accommodations and modifications, they would all have some sort of text or speech to text software. In her shoes, I would have the chapters online so they can access them anywhere, and then having someone read aloud to them if they struggle with reading. Who are you? They could also record themselves instead of writing the paper if writing is a difficult task for them to do. This is my first assessment. This one has very few words and options for the students to pick, and I made it so none of the answers kind of look the same. So if they knew, like, say they knew the main character's name was Melody, but they didn't know, if they couldn't remember the whole word, they knew it started with an M, and there's only one that has the letter M. For my second one, I used the same questions, but I just added another option for the answers. And then for the final one, I added some more words in. This is for the students who might know more detail about the book and would be able to pick out from a little bit more complicated answers.